A word from our sponsors. And now we're back in the room. Rick.
I'm not monetized. That was an enforced interference by some entity that identified itself only to the viewer. Just to make that clear. John? Go ahead.
Yeah, I began rambling.
By the way, it's an honor to have you here and to be interviewed by you. And if we have to stop this interview in the next 10 seconds for some sort of force majeure type of reason, I want to get that in.
Thanks, Rick.
You're welcome.
The pleasure's all mine.
Well, the pleasure's mine too, so, and you're not a selfish guy, so let's share the pleasure.
After you.
After you.
Okay, let's go. I began rambling on about how I love the time spent waiting for the director to set up. We all have a great time here at Corona Samizdat film headquarters. I mean, that gives us some time to unwind, maybe run a bath, get changed, do some washing, iron the clothes, put them away, and then right, the camera's set up and hey guys, let's talk about the scene. And that's another thing I like. We get to discuss the scene in detail with lots of improvisation, which of course we're the masters at remembering what we've come up with. We could deliver it word perfect, the pair of us. That takes a bit of time, and we all have a great time. It's a long process, but that's the craft, isn't it? The craft. And then when it comes to filming, well, we forget all that and we just make it up as we go along. Or not. I think we should delete this.
No, John, I like your interviewing style. I can just sit here and relax, waiting for the questions.
Okay, Rick. How do you think filming's going? I mean, we spent a lot of...
I think you can answer that.
Yeah, we spent a lot of hours filming. We don't know. The director is keeping things under his hat as to. I mean, he has a vision. We're not party to that vision. We're just the people he bosses about. He's a hard taskmaster, but the guy's a genius. We've just got to do as we're told. And he'll show us the footage when he's ready, when he's good and ready, and he's done what he needs to do. I think they're going to replace me with some CGI actor who'd be less wooden. And Rick, of course, he's irreplaceable. He's the star of the show. Film-wise, Rick, how do you find your energy levels with the intensive shooting and the stresses and the demands it makes on you? I'm at the top of my game every second. I never feel the fatigue that's evident to others. I feel inspired every second on set. And it just all the nerve endings are exposed, but there's no pain. There's only dopaminic synthesized archaic naturalistic herbivorean midget triceptorus optus. You know what I'm saying, John? Perfectly.
Yes.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I know.
Okay, so everyone's going to have to wait a little while. We're still filming. The director, we don't know how long it's going to take to make his masterpiece, but just sidestepping away from that project, it's important to introduce it and let you people know just what I'm doing here. What the fuck am I doing in Slovenia? Well, this is what I'm doing. Too much talking. Let's hand it over to Rick. Rick, there's been a major issue with the press in regards to the costs of postage. And we can blame the USA on that, can we?
Well, that's you sure surprised me with that question. I remember that was on the list of things not to discuss, but I'm not going to shy away from it, John. On September 1st, books were removed from the list of contents that can be sent by what we call, erroneously apparently, book rate. And so the way I've been sending books all this time is no longer acceptable, and the postal folk here told me that this is the United States leading the charge, that there is no way to send a book that such that it's not merchandise, and that means you cannot just say it's a gift, even if it's a gift. And so they met, and in one meeting, they even my situation was represented. It's a small country, and so they talked about what can we do for this little društvo organization in nearly nonprofit in Isola, Slovenia, that's selling to over 40 countries. What can we do for him, so that this doesn't ruin his business? The answer was not much. But it's not all bullshit. No, that's not true. It's all bullshit. But there are some benefits. For people in the European Union, the prices actually have gone down. They can now send 2 books of this size for just over €7. People in other European countries, I think, are getting a little bit of a hike. People in the United States who order 2 books this size should try to squeeze a 3rd book in to still stay under 2 kilograms, because it's going to cost something along the lines of €20.87. And the one good thing about that deal is they get tracking included. I've been sending books without the benefit of tracking, and as far as I know, nothing has been lost since I started mailing book rate. So it's an interesting problem to have, and it's discouraging, disheartening, and whatever. You never want your. I think we print our books, sell our books. We get a fair price from the printer. It went up because everything in the world is going up, and I've been advised to raise the prices of my books because that's how it is. When everything goes up, you raise everything. But if my customers are happy with the product and they already have to to pay more money to buy the book, me adding a euro or 2 seems a bit on the ugly side. Now, after 6 months of doing it, of selling at these rates and all of that, and probably selling fewer books because fewer people are willing to pay 13 or so for one of these. I mean, to pay 13 in post when it was 7. Probably fewer people are going to do that, and I will sell fewer books. And there might be at some point a reassessment in the future, that in order to keep this semi-business afloat, I need to raise a price or 2, or all the books by a euro or 2, or something like that. But that there's a lot of time for that. We're not going to go out of business right now. We're just going to sell fewer books probably, and therefore print fewer books. So, was that a long enough answer?
Yeah, I mean, you put it out there. I've known about this. We've both been party to this. Obviously, I'm a tourist, a spectator, a listener to what's going on,
and also
and a customer. I'm a customer, and I've got to say, as a customer, the products you do put out, if the postage increases, the postage increases. Who else is putting out stuff like David Miller's book there, or for that matter, Chandler Brassard? Who's championing that guy? Everyone should be championing him.
What about this baby?
Zach Tanner's new novella.
Yeah.
That's definitely one everyone should just add to their cart for the simple reason you need to read it.
This one, this is one of those books that you really don't know when you read it. It's a smart book, yet it's a bit of a thriller, a little bit in the future. And I don't know. I read it and it was engaging, and there was nothing in it that disturbed me in the least. And it's not on the level of the highest level there is of bended circuity. You're just not going to get any. You're not going to get books like this very often. But you're going to get a lot of books like this, and a lot of them are going to be shit, and they're going to be at the airport. The problem with Jonathan Trosclair is he's written a book that, might be, if he had better luck or whatever, I don't know his circumstances. This if you pick this up at the airport, you're going to say, oh, that was really good. I just wanted a little something to read. I didn't expect to learn things and grow, and So we also have books like that, and that's an important thing that we do. We also have these things that we do, like we collect postcards from Seshu Foster, but we've got people nobody's ever heard of. We put them out, and some really great readers say, hey, that guy is great.
Say his name, Rick.
David Vardaman.
David Vardaman.
And we had a little bit of extra gold paper at the printers, and so we put out some Vardaman golds. And same book, but the early ones didn't have the great paper that we're using now, that's part, the product. Well, this one you get the gold cover, which really has real gold in it. Probably not enough that you'd want to sell it, and find out that actually there's very little gold in there. I have no idea. It's got gold in it, and it's golden, color and all of that. But it's also using Holman paper, which is a really nice paper from Sweden, and we get a deal on that from our printer. And we do our best to put together a very nice looking book every time, and that's generally down to Zachary Tanner. But we also have people like Jeff Bursey, who I don't know if he's got a group of people he works with or whatever, but he does his own typesetting and chooses his own covers. And I think maybe that's one reason that a guy like him, who's maybe one of Canada's best writers, and has had a long career, why he would go with us as a press is because he can do what he wants. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But this isn't him, and I don't have one of his books in my hand right now. But trust me, we got lots of them. A lot of Canadians these days. Another Canadian coming out next month, Tim Conley, whose short stories are I have been told, remarkably good.
Yeah, I was going to mention the Canadians, and can you call it a movement? Corona Samizdat movement? There's no theme there, but they're all Canadians, and they're all...
There's your theme. Canadian.
Indeed.
Canadian, and it's literary Canadians.
And that's really exciting.
Well, yeah, any lump of people, I think probably a lot of readers are just really fucking tired of the lumping going on, the categorization going on, and I being away from the United States, I miss a lot of the wrestling in New York City, but I know that there has been some complaint about, well, why now you got to be a woman to get any money. Now you got to be a Vietnamese woman to get any money. Hey, God, Jesus, it just really sucks for the white man, and white and man, I shall emphasize, because that's kind of the rumor, and I don't care right now if that's even got a grain of truth to it, because that only matters if some of what they publish is crap. And yet, even then, all you have to do is look at a bestseller list from the days of that jackass who wrote Airport, or I think Jeffrey Archer. People talked about him a lot recently around here. These guys that are these mediocre or worse writers who are the best sellers of their day, and the limited number of fiction writers who've been given the magic wand on the neck and became great. All men, were there no women around then? Well, a few of them became known, but so this is and I don't mean to say that a corrective is good or bad. I think a corrective is a natural process, and so I don't give a damn about that. But what I'm leading to, and I'm actually getting to where I was leading to, which is, as you know, John, is not something that happens much. I like a stable camera, please.
I'd like a stable chair. This thing is creaking like it's creaking like the Dickens, Rick.
Yeah, well, that's Charles Dickens, yet another white man. And some of what he wrote was crap.
Hey, Charlie, you're dead now.
Yeah.
You can't stick up for yourself, man.
Yep. So what I'm trying to say then is that, there are, you got categories and you got categories. I have got, I've got a cameraman who's on one of the worst chairs in Isla and trying to film me. But answering a serious question with a serious answer. It's nice to have people could say, hey, how about that Corona Samizdat? Well, that's not very diverse, that press. A lot of white men. And, I can say, yeah, but a bunch of them are Canadians. That feels good. And you can also say, if I get really cornered, I'd say, what about our erotic epistolary novels by Vesna Radic? Well, okay, that doesn't do it for you. Okay, what about the writer we have whose books feature a number of LGBTQT characters and themes? Zach Tanner. what about the number of gay writers we have, which is something I can't really tell you because I have no idea among our writers which ones are gay and which ones are not. How about the number of people who've been out of jail in the entire time I've known them? You know, good citizens. You know, I can't. You know, I tell you, you know, one of the things another aspect of this thing, this topic, is the you know, when someone says, you know, you don't really have. I do have one Asian writer, Devin Roy from India, and but you know, I've not ever really thought of him as an Asian writer. I've always thought of him as a very particular type of Indian writer, meaning he's an Indian, and his writing often features an Indian or India, but he's a very subtle, delicate writer in most of the things I've read. Fine writing, and we have another book of his coming out. So, do I say, hey, we got two Indians or two Indian books? I don't give a shit. You know, Asians have you know, if a young Asian wrote to me and said, hey, I've got this really good novel, I'd say, well, why don't you send it to Kaya Press in the United States, because they specialize in Asian literature and translation, I suppose. Mostly, I don't know for sure, but I know that they've become a very, very successful press, and they publish a lot of really good writers. Among them, the aforementioned, there went Vertiman, Seshu Foster has published with them a couple of times. One of his earlier books, maybe one of his first really great prose pieces, was from Kaya Press. So, the answer to your question is, what was your question again, and how long ago did I actually answer it?
You got me there, Rick.
Yeah.
But it was real interesting.
That's why you're the interviewer.
Yeah. First time I've done it. How am I doing?
I think you're doing great. I think you're doing great, John. And I want everyone out there to know I'm not drinking. I did do YouTube where I had a beer the other day, but I'm tired as hell from all the acting, and we haven't even started today, so we're gonna probably be going until 2 in the morning. And that's just the way it is in the acting business. We got to get this done before you, John Dickson, fly back to the Isle of Man.
Thanks, Rick. Now, just to wind things up, what's next for Corona Samizdat?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, you are an interviewer. I would have looked at this later and said, why the fuck didn't we read? We have one really fun book coming out called Finnegan Slept Here. It's the next actual seaside town of note down the coast from us is Piran, and it's a gorgeous place. And back when James Joyce was in Trieste, there was a train line that went through from Trieste through there down to Parenzo, which is now called Porec. It's in Croatia. And in the late 30s, that train line was torn up, and so it no longer exists as a train line. But James Joyce, you know, probably any number of times, took that thing to go drink in a village. And one night he spent in Piran, and I've told this story many times, and forgive me if you've heard it before, but he got drunk, probably on Refoshk, which is the red wine of the area, and he slept on the marl stone, which is the stone of the area, and he got an infection that led to various problems. It was somewhere in the neck or ear or whatever, but in the end, doctors determined that that was the original infection that led to his eye problems, and so a night in Piran caused Joyce to lose his eyesight, you might say. And Piran never recognizes this. You know, in Trieste, there's all kinds of Joyce stuff, Joyce tours, and all they have to do is publicize that Joyce, he fucked up his eyes in our town, and they'd get lots of tourists. But nobody will do anything. So there's this Hungarian woman who does these marvelous drawings, and as kind of her love letter to Piran, she did these drawings. I don't know how many there are going to be, about 200. You know, they're one page. You know, it's going to be a pocketbook, and they're very simple and they're very funny. And the cover drawing is her depiction of Joyce in Piran. So Finnegan Slept Here is the clever title that we came up with. It's called Piran Scratches by Vershvilandel. And that'll be out, and the next, along at the same time or shortly before or after, we have 2 books in Spanish by writers from Colombia who we have every reason to believe are extremely good and deserving of translation. And so our idea is to publish them and sell them to anyone who reads Spanish, and then at some point, in some way, try to arrange, collect, whatever. Every book we sell, a percentage will go towards future translation into English of these 2 books. So that's the wacky thing we're doing next. And then after that, we're going to be slowly bringing out a variety of books. One Canadian and, well, several others. Slowly.
Thanks, Rick. That's great.
Well, thank you.
And remember, folks, it's James or Jim, never Jimmy. Nora didn't even call him Jimmy. And that's all from me. Rick, do you want to say anything else before I press the see you later, guys and girls?
No, I just hit, if you like this video, after you're done liking and subscribing, watch it again and drink some Refoshk and you know, lift one for James, because nobody ever called him
Jimmy? What disgusting chumminess. No one knew him as Jimmy. Courtesy of Multiple Choice, a great book of essays by somebody, Collard. Look it up. But I nearly swore then. Multiple Choice. Great anecdotes, great essays. And you'll find that particular comment about disgusting chumminess. Thank you.